Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles, Sean Croshaw producing. Sean just threw a little curveball right before he threw us on. That was funny.
It was funny.
Good one.
It was great.
Sean.
It was great. He's right, though. That's what they call them.
So this is the final.
This is the final. We have the UEFA Champions League final up on the TV. It's probably the biggest cup competition in all of world soccer, and that's what we got on this Saturday morning.
Between
Arsenal
PSG and
PSG,
Arsenal, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you're going for PSG.
Yes, they won it last year, so they're looking to go back to back.
And they don't have what's his name anymore?
Mbappe?
Yes.
No.
Kylian.
He's gone. In fact, they got better once he left.
How does that work?
Attitude, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Entitled?
Attitude, entitlement. I don't know what's the best way to describe it, but he was clearly causing some issues in the locker room. Now that he's gone, though, and he's at his new team, Real Madrid, and issues are happening there, and PSG are
coincidence, huh?
Going back to back. I don't coincidence. I think not.
Well, thank you to everybody joining us on this Saturday morning. We got a lot to get to today. There was a busy news week for being kind of the off season, but
yes.
Of course,
you know what though, we love it.
We love it.
We love it. It gives us it gives us things to talk about and things to think about. Because we'll dive into it later, but there's a lot going on right now up on the hill with the Otro Capital deal and the financial stuff. And
yes,
it seems like the more and more that comes out about Otro Capital and the private equity, the more and more it seems like not so great of an idea.
You don't say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's start here though, Alex. Big NBA news this week. Obviously, the Knicks advanced to the finals. They're going to be playing the winner of OKC and San Antonio. Game 7 tonight. Game 6 was absolutely atrocious. OKC just no-showed.
Yeah.
And I was pretty surprised that they turned in that poor of a performance. Because, defending champions, back-to-back MVP and Shea. The second half of the third quarter was unwatchable.
Yeah. SGA looked pedestrian. They did a really good job of taking him out of the game, man. It didn't seem like, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that we've seen throughout the course of this entire series. He was kind of just there, and I think that's a testament to the defensive effort in San Antonio stepping up to the plate, man. Knowing what was at stake, knowing that, hey, if you lose here, it's the end of your season.
SGA 6 of 18, 0 of 5 from 3.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
Only 3 free throw attempts. Part of the storyline with this game, too, is, with Game 6, right? Jalen Williams did play, coming with the bum hamstring, and he was horrible.
And now he's out.
And now he's out for Game 7 because they were like, yeah, if he's, he only played 10 minutes, but he finished minus 18 on the box score. And they're like, if he's a net negative out there, then there's no point in playing him.
I don't know how. I don't know how close he is to 100%, but let's say if it's a 40%, yeah, if it's a 40% Williams, then
he took one shot. It was a 3-pointer, and he missed it. Yeah. He did go to the line. He took 2 free throws. He made one of them, but yeah, dude. So when you look at, and this is the kind of the conversation we had last week. When you look at OKC, they've got, of course, SGA on the Supermax, and then they've got Jalen Williams on the max and Chet Holmgren on the max. And I think Chet Holmgren has been super underwhelming
Absolutely.
throughout, especially this series. I mean, the first round he didn't really need to do much. The second round he didn't really need to do much either. But especially with Jalen Williams out, Chet Holmgren needs to step up and be, their second best player.
Mm-hmm.
And Game 6 was probably his best game of the series. He only had 10 points. He did have a lot of rebounds. He had 11 and 2 blocks. So he's putting in effort on the boards and the defensive end, but only 8 shot attempts, And when J-Dub is out, Chet's got to be taking 12, 15 shots a game, especially if SGA is not on, right? 18 attempts for SGA. But then you look at other guys, Lou Dort's taking 11 shots. Jared McCain taking 11, I'm okay with that. He's a good shooter. But why in the world is Lou Dort taking 11 shots? 1 of 9 from 3 for Lou Dort. Where's Chet?
Where is Chet? That's the big question. And when you need your depth to step up. We had this conversation a little bit last week where you need your depth to step up, and somebody's got to help out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because in a situation like Game 6 where they do a really good job of taking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of the game, somebody else needs to step up. Somebody else needs to become your scorer. And I think in this case, you saw what happens when nobody can really step up. I'll give plaudits to guys like Alex Caruso, who have been fantastic defensively, guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, who have been fantastic defensively, but they're not your scorers. They're not going to step up and carry the load that's missing from a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? And for as good as they've been defensively, they're struggling for somebody else to step up in the absence of Jalen Williams.
I'd much rather have Caruso taking 11 shots instead of Lou Dort. Caruso went nuclear in Game 1. He had like 30-something points. He's shooting, coming into Game 6, he was shooting like 48% from 3 in this series, or in the playoffs overall. I just don't understand, Caruso's never going to be a go-to scorer, but I'm much more comfortable with him taking shots than Lou Dort. Arsenal gets on the board quickly in the 6th minute.
5 minutes, 6 minutes in. I had a really interesting thought last night as I was going to bed. I don't know why this popped up in my head, like right before I hit the pillow, but I thought about Lou Dort, and I was asking myself, is Lou Dort actually a good basketball player? Or is he just kind of there?
Well,
is he the product of, being on a good team at the right time?
I wouldn't say that. We had a conversation a couple months ago. I was talking about a guy like Dellavedova on the Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes you just need guys who are going to come in and play their butts off. And honestly, Lou Dort does that. And
he does.
He's kind of a mercenary. You need somebody to go put out a hard foul. Lou Dort's going to do that. And he's a role player, and role players are really important, especially in the playoffs. You need role players who stick to what they do. 11 shots a game is not what Lou Dort does.
Right.
So that's where I'm confused, and I don't know where this came from in Game 6 and who thought that was a good idea. But I do think Lou Dort is I honestly think all 29 other NBA teams would be happy with a Lou Dort on their team. Now, would they be happy with Lou Dort as their second or third best player? Heck no.
Yeah.
But I mean, if
that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not an all-star, but you don't need to be an all-star. You just need to be a guy who has a defined role, and when you stick to your defined role, you're really good at that, and that's who Lou Dort is.
Yeah. I just it came to my mind because literally as I was going to bed, I saw that video of whether or not did Wemby pull his hair as he was they were running down the court. So that came to my mind as I was going to bed last night.
That's something I'm kind of confused by with this Spurs run, is why are they all of a sudden trying to turn heel?
Trying to become the villain.
Yeah, and Victor Wembanyama does this whole
Wemby especially,
performative thing in the offseason where he goes and trains with the monks and he's enlightened and look how cool he is because he's hanging out with, and he's got the Zen and he's balancing on one foot. So are you a good guy or not? Because he comes in the playoffs and he elbows Naz Reid in the throat.
Right.
And then you see the clip of him telling Bismack Biyombo and Mason Plumlee to go take out Jared McCain.
Yeah, he 1,000% told them to go foul.
Did you see the other angle? You could clearly read his lips.
Yeah.
There's one angle of
the
behind shot, and you could read his lips, and he says hard foul.
Yep.
What is that?
I don't know why they're all of a sudden trying to become or trying to take on this villain persona.
And the whole media thing
it's odd
too.
to me. It's weird. Yeah, and then you have
Wemby skipping out on the media, acting like
absolutely.
he's above that and stuff. I don't understand why that's his approach. I don't know. It's kind of weird. How old is Wemby? He's only like 21 or 22, right?
Ooh.
It's like the Monk thing is, he was born, he's 22.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still young. He's still a kid, right? The Monk thing I thought was annoying because it's like, who are you trying to impress with that? You know?
Yeah.
Who are you showing off for with that? And then you come into the playoffs and you want to be villain and stuff, and it's just a kid, I think, not really knowing what path to go down. I don't know. I think it would be good for the league if Wembanyama came in and was a good guy. I mean, that was Tim Duncan's whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Duncan never got it under anybody's skin.
Absolutely not.
And I know there are a couple of players on that Spurs team that kind of did, right?
Tim Duncan let his game speak for him.
Right.
It always seemed like he was the type of guy that let his game speak for him. And I mean, the track record shows that he has the track record to go with it. And I think Wembanyama can be in that same conversation, right? Just let your track record show for itself. I know you haven't won anything yet, but you're already being talked about a guy who can potentially come in and change the way, change the NBA, be a dominant player, be an All-NBA star for the rest of your career. Like, you don't need to become this villain. You don't need to take on this villainified persona that you're all of a sudden trying to hitch your wagon on. It doesn't make it doesn't make sense.
That's part of my problem too. Is they've won 2 playoff series and they're in the conference finals, but most of this team has never been in the playoffs before. Even guys like Vassell, who've been on the roster for a few years now, like, this is their first playoff run. They have not won a title, so why are you acting above everybody else? You know, sure, even if you don't win the finals this year, if you dethrone the reigning champs, maybe we could have a conversation. But even then, like, I hate this culture of, announcing the next dynasty before they're even here.
Right.
And I get that Wembanyama's looked really good and they're pushing the Thunder to 7 games. And that's a great accomplishment in his first playoff run. But grand scheme of things, that doesn't mean anything.
No, you still have to go out there and you have to prove it. And again, it goes back to what I was saying with letting your game speak for itself instead of trying to take on this villain persona when you haven't done anything, you haven't won anything. You have to go out there and you have to. I mean, it's a big deal to go out and try to dethrone the defending champion, right?
Try, yeah.
Especially when the conversation last season was Oklahoma City is going to be the dynasty, and Oklahoma City is going to be the next big NBA dynasty.
Right. It was the same conversation though, because they hadn't won anything either before last year.
Yeah, and now. I do think you have to have some type of confidence and some type of swagger to try to take down this team that's been, a team that's trying to go back to back, a team that's trying to start a dynasty. You do have to have some confidence, but to just be outright villainous, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't. Especially, I don't know. The Thunder are kind of villains too.
They
talking about
you know what?
Lou Dort.
They kind of taken on that persona.
So you got 2 bad guys going against each other, and and then they're gonna play the Knicks.
What happened, 2-3 seasons ago with Oklahoma City when they were likable,
right?
And everybody was,
it's the whole Chiefs thing.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was, yes, absolutely. It's a common thread with every single sports dynasty.
Yes, everybody loved the Chiefs because they dethroned the Patriots, and then they
starts likable, and then they become jerks.
They're good for so long, or they manipulate the refs or whatever, and people hate them.
Deflategate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Batman thing, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That's 1,000% what it is, and I think the Spurs are trying. It seems like now Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs are trying to get an early jump to it.
Game 7 tonight, 6 p.m. It's at OKC.
Yes.
Do you think that matter? You think the Thunder are just?
I think that accounts for something. I think I think home court advantage still, especially in a Game 7, does account for something. I've loved the back and forth that these 2 teams have had. I've loved watching this series unfold. I wonder how much not having Jalen Williams available and how much not having a secondary scorer is going to impact the Oklahoma City Thunder, as we were talking about earlier, I still think OKC moves on.
SGA is 2-1 in Game 7s in his career.
Oof.
He lost his first one and
Yeah.
then won the next two.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I actually liked SGA's attitude after the loss in Game 6, even though he played like garbage.
Yeah.
And I truthfully do think just straight up holding Jalen Williams out, I think that's going to give the team a boost. I like what Jared McCain has done in this series. I really like him a lot. I think he can be an incredible scorer. And the fact that, if J-Dub was healthy, you're looking at Jared McCain as like the 4th or 5th scorer.
Right.
And I think that's incredible.
Pretty good depth option.
But again, with Jalen Williams out, he does need to take on a bigger role, and I think he can. Caruso, as I mentioned, he's a player that at times has stepped outside of his role, but he's been able to do it, like in Game 1. He kind of carried that Thunder offense in Game 1 of this series. And then you've got some of these other young guys like Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins. AJ Mitchell, I'm not sure if he's going to play tonight or not, but Wallace is another guy that can, they're expecting him to step in and take shots because they're going to have to say goodbye to some of these players. And Wallace is one of the young guys still under contract for a couple more years that is going to stick around. So to be honest with you, Alex, I think the Thunder take it. And I know they're the home team. I know they're the favorites. So that's like an unsexy pick to just go with them. But I think at the end of the day, the experience matters and the having been there matters.
Absolutely.
You just look at it and the Thunder have the back-to-back MVP. They're defending champs. What do the Spurs have that can realistically come in and win this game? I get that Wembanyama is really good, but outside of that, they've been a little inconsistent, the rest of their roster, as far as Steph Castle and Dylan Harper and those guys. So
I would agree.
I think I'm comfortable taking OKC.
I think OKC takes it at home, and we're gonna we'll end up seeing a Thunder Knicks series, which
that could be fun.
That could be fun, especially now with the hot streak that the Knicks find themselves all of a sudden in.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit last week where we were questioning if the Knicks just kind of ran into the NBA Finals due to the fact that it was a weaker Eastern Conference, and it was kind of the path was kind of laid out for them to make a pretty simple run into what turned out to be a pretty simple run into the NBA Finals, but you do have to take into account that they haven't lost in 11 games. They're on a really good hot streak, and I'm excited to see if the Knicks can live up to the hype. I'm excited to see if New York City can live up to the hype, man.
Timothy Chalamet. Yeah. I can't wait to see him front row in the finals.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Other NBA news this week, Alex, the lottery 3-2-1 reform got passed. The Board of Governors voted on it. The vote was 29-1. Only one team voted no. Sad enough, it was the Memphis Grizzlies that voted no.
It's the Jazz's fault.
But what's funny about this, so there's the whole hubbub, right? Long story short is this new reform impacts where that pick can fall. And because the Jazz have had a top 5 pick in the last 2 seasons, that pick cannot be a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah.
But Alex, everybody's expecting the Jazz to make the playoffs anyways. So if they're in the playoffs, that pick is not going to be in the lottery. So I don't know. I get on the outside a little bit why the Memphis Grizzlies would feel like they were kind of screwed, but there's no chance that pick is in the top 5.
Right. I understand why you vote no, because of the slightest possibility that pick does end up being a top 5 pick, right? The slightest possibility that the Jazz somehow, for whatever reason, the season doesn't go the way they wanted to go, and they end up in the lottery again, and then that pick somehow moves up to top 5, and you can't select top 5 because the Jazz have already gone back-to-back top 5 picks. I understand why you do it, and I understand everybody up in arms on social media about it. About yesterday and Thursday or whenever that vote went through. But I think that we're up in arms for no reason. Because I think truly at the end of the day, the Jazz will not be in that situation.
If the Jazz finish as a 9 or 10 seed,
It's possible.
they'll be in the lottery.
Right, it's
if
possible.
they finish as a 7 or 8 seed, depending on how that play-in game goes, they might be in the lottery. But we've talked before. I mean, we expect the Jazz to probably be, I'd say, I'm comfortable saying the Jazz would be 6th in the West next year, which is not in the play-in. So maybe they make the play-in, but I'm excited to see this Jazz team. I think they're going to be really good.
In turn, that wouldn't be a lottery
I
pick,
think
right?
they're going to be really good.
I think they'll be really good. And in turn, that wouldn't be a lottery pick.
Even if they're the 7th seed and they win a play-in game, they're not in the lottery.
Yeah.
So
So again, I understand why the Memphis Grizzlies did what they did. I understand why they voted against it. I understand why that they feel like there's a possibility and chance of them losing out on that top 5 pick because of the Jazz that were very gone back to back top 5 picks in the last 2 drafts. I understand why you do it, but I think again at the end of the day, we're up in arms about the wrong reasons.
yeah,
We should be more up in arms about
how stupid the rest
how
of this thing is.
incredibly dumb the the lottery is, the new lottery format is, versus the Memphis Grizzlies potentially getting screwed out of a top 5 pick because the lottery odds are dumb.
One thing that has not been talked about, I haven't seen anybody talking about this, that is part of this reform, what this does to the second round. The first 16 picks of the second round will be in inverse of the lottery order. So if that were to happen this year, that means the Wizards picking first overall. That means their second round pick would be 16th overall, and the Jazz would be 15th pick of the second round, and the Grizzlies would be the 14th pick, and so on and so forth.
That's an interesting wrinkle to this.
Because people are tanking for second round picks all the time.
Right.
Why do we care what happens to the second round picks? I don't get this at all.
Are you trying to give more value to second round picks?
Could be, but also what's the value? Because there's no value until after the lottery, I guess.
Right.
Because you don't know where it's going to land. It's probably trying to make teams feel better when they fall in the lottery. They'll, Adam Silver can say, well, at least your second round pick is a little higher. Like, dude, shut up. And speaking of Adam Silver, the NBA will have an added ability to reduce teams' lottery odds,
Yes.
modify teams' draft positions,
Yes.
and impose significant fines.
I am the Senate.
Right. So
Emperor Palpatine, man.
if Emperor Palpatine Silver thinks that a team is taking, he can straight up just say, you know what? I'm moving you to pick 16, and there's nothing you can do
and
about
that
it.
feels like an extremely dangerous game.
Yes.
You're giving Adam Silver the power to essentially, leave it up to Adam Silver's interpretation of, oh, this team's tanking, let's take away their first round pick. When maybe that's not the case at all.
Right.
You're giving him all the power. You're giving him too much power, I think, with this new lottery reform.
I mean, finding the Jazz and the Pacers was crazy enough.
Yeah.
And then it was wild when he didn't find anybody else
For the rest of the season, yeah.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So that's what worries me, is that Adam Silver is going to key in on a team. I mean, thank goodness the Jazz are out of the rebuild, right? Because they're going to be pushing for the playoffs. I don't think there's any way Adam Silver could say that the Jazz are tanking. You know what? Actually, this just popped into my head, because we've been talking about this lottery reform doesn't stop tanking. It just changes teams who tank. And now if you're a play-in team, why would you want to be in the play-in when you could lose a couple more games and get a couple more lottery balls?
Yeah.
What if the Jazz have like some sort of injuries, right? So they barely miss the play-in, and then Adam Silver says, oh, the Jazz are tanking still.
Yep.
I'm taking away their pick.
That very well could happen.
And finding them. I could totally see that scenario. And only the Jazz, by the way.
Yes.
Because that's all that Adam Silver cares about is what the Utah Jazz are doing.
Right. And I think it's funny that the Jazz have become the
face.
the villain of tanking.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've even seen all these tweets like, thanks to the Jazz for ruining the lottery.
Are we just going to ignore the fact that the Washington Wizards traded for Trae Young and traded for AD and they didn't play?
Right. Or the fact that...
Are we going to ignore the fact that Ivica Zubac got traded to the Pacers and he didn't play?
Who's in the Western Conference Finals?
The Spurs.
How'd they get Wembanyama?
Exactly.
How'd they get Dylan Harper?
I think they went 3 years in a row the way they went top 5, right?
Who's the other one?
The Spurs.
Steph Castle.
Steph
Yeah,
Castle.
yeah.
Yeah.
They did have some lottery luck, right?
Ruh-oh.
Raggy. They did have some lottery luck,
Yeah.
but
That was a good one. No, that was great.
anyway. And
They did have lottery
same
luck.
thing with the Thunder.
Right.
The Thunder tanked to get Chet.
Right.
Teams tank, dude. It's just
And now you're taking
how it goes.
Now you're taking away the ability of teams that actually need to tank
Right.
to actually try to find an avenue to get better, and you're punishing them with lower lottery odds, as in the quote-unquote relegation zone, which I still think is a terrible name.
Yeah, because it's not relegation at all. They just want
Exactly.
to be cool.
Exactly.
The good news is, though, this will only last till 2029, and then they're going to come
That
up with
is-
some other stupid idea.
That's probably the only positive about this, is the fact that you'll only have to worry about it until 2029. I believe
Maybe.
it lines up a little bit with the CBA, if I'm not mistaken, when the negotiations and things have to start aligning with that. And so we'll see what the newer version of that looks like once 2029 rolls around, but I don't know if it will be a better idea than this.
Well, this will sunset after the 2029 draft, and then a vote will be held to continue it or transition to
there
a
you go.
new system.
There you go.
So 3 drafts.
Yeah.
4 drafts.
It's really unfortunate because I think that we were sitting here a couple months ago begging for a lottery reform and screaming for lottery reform, and now that we get the lottery reform, it seems like it's a really bad idea.
I will let the record show I was screaming for lottery abolishment.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I think the lottery is the stupidest idea ever.
Yes.
Nobody cares what the bad teams are doing in March anyways. You know?
Yeah. Well, and what's going to stop, a team in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th
Exactly.
from tanking late in the season?
Right. Nothing. I guess
And
Mr.
does-
Silver.
if the Phoenix Suns are all of a sudden pulling the plug on the season, trying to avoid getting into the play-in to improve their lottery odds, does Emperor Palpatine decide to come in and take away some lottery picks?
It's a new age. What are they? The First Order. That's the bad guys in the new Star Wars movies.
I think so. Yes.
The First Order.
Yes.
That's Adam Silver. Let's take a break. Coming up next, Alex, we are going to debut a new segment. I'm not going to say what it is yet. We're just going to roll it out. Cold open, but I am excited for this segment.
I am excited as well.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles, and Alex, it is time to debut a new segment on the Saturday Show. We've been doing this show for almost 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Congrats, by the way. That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yes, congrats to you.
And we haven't added any new segments, I don't think.
No. So this is a first.
So we are finally debuting a new segment.
Absolutely.
This one is going to be called Rumor Has It. Okay, it's the rumor mill. We're just going to talk about things that are being floated out there, not quite official yet, but are still worthy to talk about.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead, and Alex, you can start with the first one.
Chicago Bulls want to run at Kevin Young. The Chicago Bulls, the latest report coming out from Twitter last night, saying that the Chicago Bulls are casting a wide net for their head coaching search, and that includes interest and early conversations with BYU head coach Kevin Young, sources tell ESPN.
You think it's Jamal Collier, by the way. He works for ESPN, is the one that tweeted this out. My initial thought on this, so for everybody that doesn't remember, right, Kevin Young, before he joined BYU, was like one of the top assistants in the NBA.
Right.
I do think the way this is worded is telling, because it just says the Bulls are casting a wide net for the head coaching search, which includes interest and early conversations with Kevin Young. Now, of course, that's how everything starts, right? But literally, that can be as much as just the Bulls reached out to Kevin Young. It doesn't mean yet that Kevin Young has any interest in the Bulls job.
Right.
I will say, though, that I'd much rather be an NBA coach than a college coach, because what comes with being a college coach right now, it sounds like hell.
It's kind of messy. It's kind of messy. And, there's all types of legislations, all type of bills. There was a new bill that was introduced this week of trying to save college sports. And so we'll see, everything's a mess. There needs to be some sort of rules and regulations. But anytime anybody proposes rules and regulations, nobody wants to play on the same playing field. So there is a lot that comes with being a college head coach. Now, I think, from my perspective, I think selfishly I would enjoy Kevin Young to stay at BYU. I think what he's done at BYU has been tremendous, and they've been really fun to watch. Obviously, bringing in AJ DeBonta last year was a massive accomplishment. Maybe the season didn't go as well as they wanted it to go, and that's fine. I think Kevin Young has the tool bag to replenish that roster and make another run to have another successful Big 12 season. Now, that being said, because of his track record and how, coveted he was as a NBA assistant and was one of the top assistants when he was at the Phoenix Suns, and what he's done at BYU, I think he's more than earned a look to be a new head coach in the NBA.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I think
I wouldn't want to coach the Bulls.
Yeah, maybe not the Bulls, but I think he's done plenty to earn another look and potentially have a run at being an NBA head coach. Again, not the season he wanted, but he still has a lot of accomplishments in the recruiting trail, and he's kind of brought BYU basketball into relevance. And now
that's always going to get your name in
exactly
rumor mills.
Exactly, and so you look at all the invitationals they did last year, playing big opponents like Villanova at Madison Square Garden, like that's massive, and BYU is now on this map of potentially moving into and being considered contenders for Big 12 in Big 12 play, and that's awesome. And so I think he's done plenty to earn an opportunity to be an NBA coach. Next one, Sean.
There's a new team in the Giannis sweepstakes, rumor has it. According to Ramona Shelburne, the Orlando Magic could be players for the big man from Milwaukee. The Magic yesterday hired Sweeney. What's his first? Sean Sweeney.
Yes.
I almost mixed him up with another Sweeney. I know. And then at the last second, I was like, wait, that's
Sydney?
not right. No. Yeah, Sydney. Magic hired Sydney Sweeney. Sean Sweeney is the new Magic head coach, right?
Yeah.
He has ties to Giannis in Milwaukee. He was an assistant for the Bucks for a while. So now Ramona Shelburne is saying that the Magic could be players in Giannis.
Yeah.
The funny part about this, though, is I don't know what the heck they could offer.
And two, just to kind of throw this out there, it goes a little bit too beyond that. They have John Hammond on staff. He is a GM with an advisory role who drafted Giannis. Jeff Weltman, who's the president of basketball operations, went out and scouted Giannis, and now you have Sean Sweeney, who worked closely with Giannis in Milwaukee. So a lot of Orlando Magic fans are looking at it, hopeful that they might make a swing at Giannis Antetokounmpo.
As I mentioned, though, they traded a bunch of picks to get Desmond Bane,
yes,
right? And
yes.
you don't want to trade him for Giannis because he's a shooter. And right now he's like the only shooter on the Magic. So they would likely need to trade Franz Wagner or Paolo Banchero to get him. And I don't know. I mean, I'd much rather move on from Wagner. I'd rather keep Paolo, but he's a little redundant with what Giannis does.
If it seems like if they want Giannis, they would have to put up a pretty big trade package.
Right. They definitely need to get other teams involved, I think, because Milwaukee would not be satisfied with whatever picks Orlando could offer. I mean, like I said, they barely have anything left because they gave up, I think it was 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. So.
Right. And Orlando's kind of in this interesting spot right now where they have a quote-unquote young core, and I think expectations were high for Orlando coming into the season, but I think that they underperformed massively, being at number 8.
Right.
And you make the trade for Desmond Bane. That's supposed to help you get over the hump and become a bona fide playoff team. They ultimately did make it, but they had a pretty quick one and done.
Wagner and Paolo are both making about $41 million next year. Giannis is making $54 million, so they would probably need to add another, I don't know, maybe like an Anthony Black just because he's kind of younger, right? He's still on his rookie deal. Maybe Milwaukee could think they could get something out of him. I mean, it's not like the Magic have a ton of just young talent that Milwaukee would be interested in either. I don't think that Milwaukee could offer the same thing that even I think the Heat could offer a better package.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Celtics have a smarter front office. I think they could offer more. I just don't know why Milwaukee would be interested. Wagner's a really good player, but he's never healthy.
And did you see the latest report coming out this morning from Giannis Antetokounmpo?
No, what was it? There's another one?
Linked to Boston.
Oh, right. Yeah. Again, even if you go to Boston, like Boston wouldn't hold on. They would have to include Jaylen Brown, I'm assuming.
Right.
So you'd put Giannis and Tatum next to each other, but I'd take Jaylen Brown over Franz Wagner.
Yeah,
if I'm Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned
Jaylen
earlier,
Brown seems like a player you can
build
rebuild.
around.
Yeah, you can rebuild around.
And put him in Milwaukee where the Wi-Fi doesn't work, so he can't hop on Twitch.
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
No, that's why I brought up the Celtics front office is a lot better than the Magic.
Yes.
And the Magic front office has been fine, but I mean, clearly what the Celtics have been doing over the last few years, they are one of the top teams in the NBA, right? So if anybody were to pull off some crazy sort of magic, I'd put it more likely to be Boston than the Magic.
It just really does feel like we're at a point right now where it does feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo will not be a Milwaukee Buck.
No.
Whether that be moving on from him this offseason, whether that be making a move for him at the deadline. He does, I believe, hit free agency at the end of next year, and so it does seem like that that ship has sailed. Giannis will not be a Milwaukee Buck in the very near future.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does kind of feel like we're at that point.
Speaking of free agency, next.
Walker Kessler expected to re-sign with the Utah Jazz. The latest from Tim Bontemps saying that Walker Kessler is expected to re-sign with the Jazz on a 25 to 30 per year deal. We talked about it a little bit last week. All the eggs it felt like the Jazz, a lot of the Jazz's eggs were in the Walker Kessler basket. They need a big man. They're counting on Walker Kessler. And so this is a really great news for Jazz fans to come wake up to yesterday morning with Tim Bontemps saying that they are expected to re-sign Walker Kessler.
The best part of this to me is that number. 25 to 30
absolutely.
is a lot more palatable. There were rumors for a second. It felt like that number could get inflated all the way up to like 35 million a year, which when you're talking about what the Jazz are going to be facing over the next few seasons, they're going to have to pay Keontae George probably next summer. They're already paying Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lowry Markkanen each close to $50 million per year. Right, so every penny you can save matters. So if you can get Walker Kessler closer to $25 million than $35 million,
that'd be massive.
That is huge. And of course, it's probably going to be a short-term deal because the Jazz have an interesting, even bringing in the number 2 pick, they still want to try and win as fast as they can. They're kind of opening their window now. I don't know how long that window is going to be open. Obviously, it depends on how the number 2 pick turns out. But like, feasibly, they probably have a chance at competing in the West within the next 2 or 3 years.
If you can get him closer to that 25 number, I feel like that helps out a lot with your financial situation, and that could definitely help open up your window for a lot more. Because I think right now that you're trying to do everything you can to make sure that window is open, not just for the next 2 to 3 years, but you can push it to 5 to 7. To even longer if you're really lucky and you get a franchise-changing player at the number 2.
Possibly, but Walker probably wouldn't be a part of that.
No.
I'm thinking with Walker, it's probably a shorter-term deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they need him on this roster next year. That is a fact. because they don't have any other options at center.
Mm-hmm.
But if it gets to a point where they can do something else at center for a lot cheaper, then they're probably going to move off of Walker eventually. But again, for next year, they need him. He's the perfect fit. He's the, Thanos putting the last stone into the Infinity Gauntlet. He is that for the Jazz.
Fair.
He fits so perfectly next to Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. And having Walker at the 5 is going to fix that defense like nobody else can.
And we talked about it last week. Having those three together seems like a really, really great thing for the Utah Jazz to have all that size, to have all that length.
Yes.
Especially with the defensive woes that we've seen from the Jazz. And again, I know that part of it is possibly and partially on purpose to try to position yourself in good lottery standings. But I think if you have those three, your defensive play can and probably will improve massively.
Yeah. And they need it. They need it. But after, 2 or 3 years, will Walker Kessler be needed? I mean, they're basically going to have to choose between Walker Kessler and Keontae George is what I'm ultimately getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, Keontae is going to be getting an extension probably next summer. That's when he's going to be eligible. So if Keontae continues on this upward path, then yeah, that's a tough choice to make. I mean, if Keontae falls off and it's not a hard decision, then you just keep Walker and don't keep Keontae.
Yeah.
But I liked what I saw from Keontae George last year. There's no reason to believe that he can't continue on that upward trajectory.
After everything that he did last season, there's no reason not to believe that there is still more of a step to take for Keontae George.
You just can't pay everybody.
Yeah, this isn't. I don't think this is the final version of Keontae.
No, it's not. And when you get to be a championship caliber team, which the Jazz are ultimately striving to be, you have to make tough decisions. Remember, speaking of Boston, we're talking about the Celtics. They had to dump Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, 2 key members of their championship team.
Absolutely.
Because, the roster just gets too expensive after a certain point. The Thunder are in the same boat. They're going to have to dump a lot of these key players and hope that some of their younger players can catch up and step up. And again, eventually the Spurs are going to be in the same boat.
The second apron, man. It's killer.
So we'll see. I'm interested to see. I like that. That number's music to my ears. 25 to 30, perfect.
Absolutely.
3 years, potentially, perfect.
Absolutely. And as we were talking about, he is going to be a massive piece to the Jazz turning that corner. And the Jazz pushing for playoffs and the Jazz pushing for winning basketball. So it's great to... Obviously, still rumor, nothing confirmed, nothing official. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is the rumor mill.
There's still time.
This is a rumor mill. None of this is official.
Reminding everybody, it's all rumor. It's part of a rumor mill, and so still waiting for any official confirmation or anything like that. But the latest rumor is that he is expected to resign.
Still 1-0 for Arsenal coming up on the halftime intermission.
Yeah.
Except they added 6 minutes of extra time, so not quite coming up. That's a lot of extra.
Those hydration
I feel
breaks,
like it hasn't even. I feel like they haven't even taken breaks.
Yeah, no, they had a hydration break while we were on break.
This started right at 10, right when we started.
Yeah.
And it's 10:48, and they're in the 46th minute.
Yeah.
So they've been stopped for like a minute and a half total, and they've added 6 minutes of extra time.
I guess.
If my math's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, 1-0 Arsenal. We got to take a break. Coming up next, we'll get into technical fouls, some of the funnier sports stories of the week. Stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles, thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. It's time for Technical Fouls, one of our favorite segments every week. We talk about some of the funnier things that happen in sports. Real quick, I do have to update on a personal story. Sean reminded me. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about I couldn't find the
sprinklers.
The key to my sprinkler.
Yeah.
For those that missed it, right, I was going to turn on my sprinklers. You have that thing in the ground. You stick the key in there and twist it. I couldn't find the hole in the ground because last fall I completely redid my lawn. I threw a bunch of dirt, a bunch of grass seed. It looked great, but I needed to water it. But because I put so much dirt and grass, I couldn't remember where that hole was. And I kept telling myself, I swear that I left it like uncovered. I'm not that dumb. But I couldn't find it. I was on my hands and knees, like digging up like this whole corner of my lawn. I dug like 2 or 3 inches deep trying to find this thing, and I could not find it. Turns out I was looking in the wrong spot.
I knew it.
My wife was like, I think I know where it is. And I was like, okay, I think I know where it is too, but it's harder than you think. She comes over. I was literally, so there's like a green sprinkler box. I was looking on the right side of it. It was on the left side of it. Literally like lined up right there. I was probably a foot off.
She has the mom superpowers now, dude.
Yes, exactly.
Where's the TV remote?
Yeah.
Mom, I can't find it. Mom comes over. It's right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
You're looking in the wrong spot, dude.
She has the mom superpowers
That's
now.
funny.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, let's get into technical fouls. There was a big one this week. Big brother and little brother in Texas are fighting, and we're just sitting back watching. Long story short, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian he threw a shot at an anonymous team in the state of Texas.
I have the direct quote.
What'd he say?
There is a team in our state that plays in another conference that has a schedule that I would argue if I played with our 2s or our 3s, we would go undefeated, unquote.
Okay.
That was Steve Sarkisian's direct quote.
And then Cody Campbell, the mega booster for Texas Tech, he straight up offers
Take it personal.
to play Texas. He says, okay, let's play then. No answer. No answer. And then was it Cody Campbell or Joey McGuire that straight up offered? They said they will buy out Texas's week 1 opponent and Texas Tech's week 1 opponent. They will buy out both teams so they could make this game happen.
So I believe it started with Joey McGuire at the Big 12 spring business meetings that are happening, right, down there in Texas. Joey McGuire essentially comes out and says that they would buy out their first game to play Texas. And so obviously social media gets a hold of it and everyone's like, let's make it happen, which I agree. And then you have Texas Tech big booster Cody Campbell, who jumps on Pat McAfee yesterday and essentially says the same thing, and he's like, yeah, we'll pay it. Cody Campbell, who's also very very vocal on social media, also tweets about it. Boosts his tweet, by the way. You know, you can see that on Twitter now.
You can see when it's boosted?
It's basically boosted, and, you pay extra to essentially it becomes an ad, and it pops up on everybody's feed.
That's funny.
He does that, and so it gets boosted. Everybody sees Cody Campbell's tweet, basically calling out Texas and saying, we will buy out the game for you. And then, of course, there's crickets coming from the Texas side of it all.
Texas.
In fact, no, Steve Sarkisian, before all this comes out with Jerry Maguire, goes back and says, look, the comment was taken out of context and tries to retract the statement.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Stevie.
Yeah. It was, but obviously Joey Maguire and Cody Campbell didn't see it that way.
Texas's week 1 opponent, by the way, is Texas State.
Yeah.
Texas Tech has Abilene Christian lined up for week 1. So, yeah. I mean, if they really wanted to settle this and put their money where their mouth is,
they won't.
They could buy these games out, but they won't. You're right.
They could, but they won't.
Sark doesn't want to FOFO.
Yeah.
FAFO. You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to mess around and find out.
No.
But he was messing around. He's just not going to find out. Nope. Or I guess he is finding out what social media does, because now he's the one that looks like the idiot. When you're bragging about your 2s and 3s, like, it's one thing to say if we played that schedule, we'd be undefeated. But he takes it one step further and says our backups could play Texas Tech's schedule and go undefeated.
Right.
So then Texas Tech, they have every right to take offense to that. They say, okay, fine, put your money where your mouth is. Let's play.
Let's play it.
And Texas, radio silence.
Yeah, it won't happen. It won't happen. Just because there is the possibility, there is the chance that you lose that game and you become even more of a joke than you are now with your head coach making those comments.
Texas isn't very good. I don't think. Everybody's still so high on Arch Manning.
Arch Manning's going to be the Heisman, man.
I don't see it.
Arch Manning.
He's a bum.
He's going to be the Heisman.
Number 1 overall pick. Yeah, right.
It's already starting, man. I've already seen it. the NFL mock drafts, the Heisman contenders.
Sick of it.
Who's at the top?
Arch
Manning. Who was at the top last season?
Arch.
And how did that go?
Bad.
There you go.
Exactly. All right. We're going to take a break. Coming up next on the other side, we're going to talk to Bryce Akins. He covers the Washington Wizards for SI Now. Bryce has had some strong opinions on Twitter over the last couple of weeks talking about the Wizards, but we're going to talk to him and kind of get the vibe on what's going on in Washington, what they feel about the number one pick, and kind of get the temperature on how they feel about the AJ DeBonsa versus Darren Peterson thing.
I'm curious as well to see what his thoughts are on Trae Young and Anthony Davis.
Exactly. We'll talk about all of it.
Yeah.
So stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
You've got better things to do this summer than deal with old appliances. That's why right now at Lowe's, you can still get in on Memorial Day savings and get up to 45% off select major appliances. Plus, get up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. It's time to upgrade what's outdated. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/3. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles, and right now we are joined by Bryson Akins. He covers the Washington Wizards for SI Now. Bryson, thanks for taking a couple minutes to join us.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
So what was the feelings down there, or I guess out there in Washington, once the Wizards... you see John Wall up on the TV screen and the Wizards get the number one pick. And what was the feelings for the Washington Wizards fans?
It felt like luck had finally turned around. As you know, the Cooper Flag draft, they were one ping pong ball away from having Coop. The Victor Wembanyama draft, they were one ping pong ball away from having Wemby. The Zion Williamson draft, when he was rumored to be the next big thing, they were one ping pong ball away from drafting him as well. So it finally looked like luck has turned around in Washington and they can get their franchise guy. But I know Wizards fans were just hoping they got top three because they knew anyone in the top three was going to change the entire trajectory of the franchise. But first, overall, it just felt like the NBA had finally listened to the kind of prayers that Wizards fans were sending out, being like, hey, like, we desperately need this.
This Wizards team has not been in the playoffs since, I believe, 2020, 2021 season. So they're on a similar timeline, I guess, to the Jazz. So it is interesting having these two teams be the number one and number two picks. And then, of course, you throw in the AJ DeBonsa ties to Utah. I guess, are the Wizards... Are they actually serious or considering trading out of number one, or is that just kind of an online thing that people are putting together because of the AJ DeBonsa ties?
Yes and no. So the yes part, it is basically, look, we're fine with taking one of AJ, Darren Peterson, or Cameron Boozer. Like, we'll be fine with any of those three guys. We can make it work. It doesn't really matter. It's more so seeing, look, it's basically what happened last year. The Wizards really wanted Ace Bailey. And Utah was like, hey, what are you willing to do to get Ace Bailey at 5? And Wizards are like, we're not going to trade up. Now it's something similar with Utah where it's like, hey, how bad do you want to trade for one to secure you get AJ DeBonsa? That's what it is, where it's like, we're fine taking whoever we want. We'll stay at 1. It's just a matter of how, how much are you willing to give up to get your guy right here in the draft?
Do you feel right now that in any conversations that you have out there, or I guess the temperature gauge out there for where the Wizards are leaning at number one is, the conversations and many mock drafts that I see kind of flip-flop between AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. Where do the Wizards land in, do they see AJ DeBonsa as the number one, or do they see Darren Peterson as the number one?
From what I've heard and seen around so far, it's looking like it's 80-20, AJ at 80, Peterson at 20. I just think it's the fact that AJ, as we see a ton of people report on, he is the safe option. You know what you're going to get from him no matter what. And Darren Peterson, there's more of the question markers like, okay, we understand the cramping stuff at Kansas. How much of that is going to translate into the NBA? You know, what other injury problems is he going to have? And then with Boozer, it's more so like, okay, we know like he is like a Kevin Love kind of archetype player when you're looked at prime Kevin Love when he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but it's a question of, is he athletic enough to play in the modern NBA? And so it just makes it AJ DeBonsa as a safe pick, and it's looking more likely than not they're going to take AJ at first overall.
Will Dawkins is the GM for Washington. He took over in 2023. He came from Oklahoma City. Sounds like a lot of people in Washington are really high on him. He's only had a couple of drafts there, but what are your thoughts on Will Dawkins? And on top of that, has he established kind of a pattern in what he likes to draft as far as like an archetype of a player?
Yeah, you can kind of even look back at when he was in Oklahoma City. The main reason they ended up taking Jalen Williams was because he was in that draft room and was like, look, he's someone that we should really consider taking at 12th overall. We're thinking he's going to have a ton of upside here. And so he likes these kind of lanky arm athletic wings. You also look at it when he traded up to get Keyshawn George, when he traded up to get Will Riley. That's his kind of archetype, which kind of also solidifies to me why they would want AJ over Boozer or Peterson. But overall, I think he's done a great job. He definitely has the kind of eye for talent, especially in the later rounds when you look at that 20 through 30 range, who he's been able to draft there, especially second round, getting Jameer Watkins last season, who looked like one of the better second round picks, earning a standard contract as well. But I do know Wizards fans are extremely happy him and Michael Winger are in the driving seat instead of Tommy Shepard now.
Looking at the Jazz and the Wizards are kind of on the similar timeline with the rebuilds, where they both make some trades at the deadline to try to now push themselves into a window where they're looking to get back into the playoffs, and they're looking back at winning basketball. What is, I guess, the feelings of Trae Young and Anthony Davis going over to Washington this past season, and are they players that they can hitch their wagon on and become playoff contenders?
Trae Young, yes. From everything that we've heard from Will Dawkins when they did their introductory press conference for him, it looks like he's going to be here for a couple years. He wants to be in Washington. Him and Will Dawkins already had a relationship dating all the way back to Oklahoma City when Trae Young was in high school at Norman North and going to OU. While Dawkins was there working for the Thunder, they already had that relationship, and it just continued on when he reached the NBA. The opportunity presented themselves to be like, hey, we can go after and get him. They got it. They got Trae Young for a relatively kind of a steal, trading C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert, not trading a single draft pick in that deal, which was really impressive. But this looks like it's going to be a long-term thing for Trae Young in Washington. I'd expect him to be there for 4 to 6 years at the minimum. And then Anthony Davis, it looks like they would like him to be a little bit more locked in and be like, hey, buy into the team. There's actually something here. But Anthony Davis, it doesn't seem like he really wants to be there. And I can't blame him. He's at the point of his career. He's 33 years old. He's got 4 years left probably in the NBA. At this point, you're like, look, I only want to play for rings. I don't want to spend a season or two on a team developing, trying to get into the playoffs and be one of the top teams in their conference. I want to play for an instant contender. So it's kind of one of these tricky scenarios where it's like, look, buy in. Maybe we can trade you at the deadline. Kind of reshape your value a little bit, send you to a contender, go win a championship with them in a season or two, and we also win out of it because we end up getting something out of this trade as well.
You mentioned some of the recent draft picks the Wizards have had, right? Like Keyshawn George. Last year they bring in Trey Johnson. Alex Sarr has been playing really well for them the last couple of years. So they've got a solid young core, plus whoever the Wizards are going to take at number 1 this year. How do you feel like Trae Young fits alongside those guys? Obviously, he's quite a bit older now at this point. Does it feel like he is a good kind of veteran to be in the group, or is there almost kind of an awkward age gap where it's trying to balance 2 different timelines for this team?
I think he's perfect for the group. When he is a veteran, he's been in the league for a little bit, but it's not like he's Anthony Davis, 33 years old. Trae Young is 28 years old, if I'm not mistaken, where it's like it's not that big of an age gap between him and Jameer Watkins, for example, who they just drafted. It's a 4-year age difference where it's not as, it's not like it's a decade compared with Anthony Davis to Alex Sarr. It's not like there's that much disconnect. And Trae Young, in the 5 short games that we did see him there, he did change up how he played a little bit. Instead of him being like the number one scoring option, he took more of a main facilitator role. And I don't want, like, when I say this, it's not a direct comparison where it's like, oh, he played exactly like him. But it's kind of like when you would watch Steve Nash play back in the day, where it's like he was the facilitator. He got the offense going. He'd give you 18 points, but he's going to give you an extra 25 just off his passing ability, where that's where Trae Young kind of fits in. He's kind of bought into that role. He's that veteran leader, presence. He's been to the playoffs a few times. He's been to an Eastern Conference Finals, more than what a ton of other players they could have traded for have done in their career, especially guys that were already on the team. CJ McCollum, he's never made it past the first round, I think, until no, I don't think he has ever, if I'm not mistaken. They had Chris Middleton, but he wasn't, from what I heard, as much of a vocal leader in the locker room as CJ McCollum was being. And so Trae Young is the perfect guy that they could have went out and got.
So we know the East is relatively weak year to year. So I guess with all of these young players and then the additions that the Wizards made at the trade deadline, and then assuming you bring in either AJ DeBonsa or Darren Peterson, how do you feel about the Wizards' ability to compete right away in the East? Do you think they're looking at a playoff run next year, or do you think in their mind they want to hammer out and finish this rebuild for another season or two?
When Will Dawkins did his end of season press conference, he mentioned how it's like the rebuild isn't technically over, but the train is leaving the station right now. Like, you better get on now if you want to be a part of this team. You better buy in. The train is leaving. You can't buy a ticket anymore. Where next season, it is more so development, where they're looking at, okay, this guy is someone that we want to extend and keep for a while. This guy, we're not really thinking he's going to, do much for us in 2 seasons. Let's try to see if we can trade him for more additional assets down the line. That's what next season's all about. Of course, they're going to want to make the playoffs. They're not going to outright try to lose 17 games next season. The goal should be to try to at least be in the play-in to show like, hey, we have made improvement. Here is a playoff-like atmosphere for these guys to get used to it and get ready for playoff basketball in the 27-28 season. 26-27 is more so, hey, this is when we're really starting to show the signs that this is a serious basketball team and no longer the joke of the NBA as they had been for the past 5 to 6 years. And so that's what it's all about.
I think there was a collective sigh here in the state of Utah on Thursday when the new lottery reform gets voted, and that the Jazz are turning that corner and aren't necessarily positioning themselves to be in a lottery spot anymore. Is there? I guess what's your take on the new 3-2-1 lottery reform system? What is how does the Washington Wizards feel about it, and is it a good time for? Do they feel like it's a good time for them too as well to be moving on from lottery position?
Personally, I think it is a horrible idea what Adam Silver has done to the lottery. I think this is something that can, I don't want to say ruin the NBA, but it's going to make a lot of fans question, is this really the commissioner that we want in the league? For the Wizards, though, this is a perfect scenario for them. From 2028 to 2030, they either outright own another team's pick or has rights to swap with another team. So with this new flattened odds, they could, for example, they have the Portland Trail Blazers pick in 2028 and 2029, I believe. Mm-hmm. The Blazers in a tough West, they're going to be a play-in team, if not even make the play-in. Now you all of a sudden have a chance to get another top 5 pick, maybe even first overall in 2028, to add on to a Washington Wizards team who is already going to be really good in the East in 2 years. And so this current lottery system, it is amazing for Washington. But personally, I hate it. I think it's going to be horrible for teams like Memphis that we saw when you guys traded a ton of first-round draft picks to get JJJ, and now Memphis, all of a sudden, that first-round draft pick from you guys can't even be top 5. Yeah. So it's going to be tough for them where, there are going to be teams that really hate it. There are going to be teams that really thrive from it, like, Washington, OKC, San Antonio. They're going to thrive in this new lottery system. It's a horrible idea what they've done, but, Washington, they got to love what they are seeing from this now.
He is Bryson Akins. You can find his work on SI Now, where he writes about the Washington Wizards. Bryson, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. And I guess we'll see if the Jazz and the Wizards kind of have a little rivalry over the next couple of seasons after all this drama.
We'll see. Thank you guys for having
Thanks,
me.
Bryson.
Thanks, Bryson. Take care. Good stuff from Bryson there. I think the Anthony Davis stuff is really interesting because that trade did not make sense ever at the trade deadline. And then now that we are a few months removed from that trade and in the offseason part of it, especially after getting the number 1 overall pick, it's like Anthony Davis just does not belong in that roster at all.
No, he doesn't. And, you know, he brings up a really good point where Anthony Davis is at that age where you kind of want to be ring chasing, right? You don't have a lot of time left, and especially with how much he's hurt and how, I guess, undependable he is because of...
Well, and it sounds like he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, now all of a sudden it turns out I might not actually want to be here. So
of course he doesn't, right?
We'll see. I don't know what team in the right mind would want to trade for an injured Anthony Davis at this age.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
But if they can actually turn him around and get something back out of him, that might not be bad business for the Washington Wizards.
I just can't believe it's just a domino effect from that terrible Luka Doncic trade, right?
Yes.
Dallas got nothing in return, essentially, for Luka because they didn't get anything after they traded away Anthony Davis. So,
right.
I mean, they got nothing of value, right? They had to get something in return, but they didn't.
Trade.
They didn't get anything in return, and Anthony Davis is just unhappy wherever he's at, right? He forced his way out of New Orleans. I guess he was happy in LA, but he didn't want to be in Dallas. He didn't want to be in Washington. Again, somebody, like you're saying, somebody is going to have to trade for him, but his price is so low now. I don't know. When he's on the court, he can still be a really effective player. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but again, that's when.
That's when.
Right. And that's been I think the biggest issue for Anthony Davis the last couple seasons is the fact that he has been out more than he's been available.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers moved on from it at a perfect time, and it's still one of the weirdest head scratchingest trades as far as Luka Doncic going over to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis, but good on Dallas to move on from it. Now it seems like he doesn't want to be in Washington, which is weird because they have a young core. They can potentially turn that corner and maybe start something in Washington, and Anthony Davis just doesn't want to be part of it.
Sounds like there is a little more buy-in from Trae Young, which is interesting. Remember when he took the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals, he looked like he was one of the next big things in the NBA, and then he kind of plateaued really, really early on after that.
Yeah.
I do wonder what sort of mentor he can be over there in Washington to some of those young players. But at the end of the day, I mean, a dude that's buying in the way that Trae Young is and Anthony Davis isn't, I think that's a good thing for all the young players over on the Wizards.
Absolutely. And again, I still have questions on whether or not Trae Young can be the guy to put the Washington Wizards over the top.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out. I don't think we saw nearly enough from Trae Young in a Washington jersey this past season. Obviously, they were in a situation too where they're trying to position themselves in a lottery spot, and so
they didn't get fined, by the way.
Yeah, you don't necessarily expect him to play a lot, but the games that he did play, it seemed like he was a little reserved, as in it wasn't the Trae Young that you saw in Atlanta. Even the plateaued late in the season, late in his Atlanta career, Trae Young, and so I'm wondering now next season if once they turn that corner and once they are positioning themselves to try to be winning basketball games, can Trae Young turn that corner as well too and get back to a Trae Young that we saw in Atlanta versus the one that seemed very reserved when he did play for Washington.
And of course, the AJ DeBonta stuff is really fascinating. I mean, I think that AJ's a great fit for the Wizards roster. They've drafted a ton of guards over the last few drafts. Of course, none of them are as good as Darren Peterson, right? So you could completely just bring him in as the top dog. But if you're happy with some of these other guys like Keyshawn George and Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington, Trae Young, right? Those are all guards. Bring in AJ DeBonta as a wing and have him play next to Alex Sarr.
It seems like that would be the natural fit, right? The natural pick. If you are in fact that happy with Trae Young, if you are in fact that happy with the guards that you already have in place, it doesn't make it. When you have somebody like AJ DeBonta at the top and Darren Peterson at the top, well, why would we want to bring in? You think long term as well too, but why would you want to bring in if Trae Young is your long term plan? It seems like you can mitigate that a little bit with bringing in AJ DeBonsa, and now you can have a team where Trae Young and AJ DeBonsa are running the show versus planning for the future with Darren Peterson as well.
And for the record, I don't think that there's any credibility to the Jazz trading up. I think the Jazz have a due diligence just to see, as all 29 teams in the NBA have a due diligence to see what it would take to trade up to number 1.
Right.
And if you're the Wizards, you have a due diligence to see if somebody's going to be stupid and overpay for the number 1 overall pick. Because if you think you can swindle the Jazz or swindle the Grizzlies and still end up with one of AJ, Darren Peterson, or Cam Boozer, then you make that trade. But ultimately, if you're not going to get an offer that blows you away, then you're perfectly fine with sitting at 1 and taking AJ DeBonsa.
Absolutely. And because it's this draft and because you have this talent pool and because you have these players at the top, it seems like a fairly right. If there is not an offer that you think is worth taking, it seems fairly fine that you go and you pick at number 1, because I think it is. I don't know if rare is the right word. I don't know if maybe pleasure. It is a pleasure to go and have the number 1 pick, and you were able to go out and make that decision because it's not often that you get the number 1 overall pick. Because of the lottery system, because of the way that the NBA is shaped up, it's not often that you can go out there and say, hey, I picked so-and-so at number 1.
The Wizards have had 2 number 1 overall picks.
When was the last one?
2010, they took.
It's been a while.
John Wall.
Hey, there you go.
And their other one, 2001, you know who that was?
Uh-uh.
Kwame Brown.
Oh, okay.
Biggest bust ever.
So not the best track record for the Wizards.
Well, John Wall was good.
Yeah.
He dealt with injuries. Probably not as good as you'd want from a number 1 overall pick.
I don't know if he ever reached the level that I think that they wanted him to reach.
No.
Right.
No.
And partially has to do with the injuries.
He was representing the Wizards when they won this number 1 overall pick. So maybe that's enough to make up for his shortcomings during his career. You know.
You give him the luck for the number 1. Yeah. And that makes up for that.
Yeah, that makes up for him not living up to
okay. I like that. I like that train of thought.
But ultimately, like, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about this new GM and how good he is, but at the end of the day, it's the Wizards, man.
Right.
So do you really trust that they're going to properly develop whoever they bring in? And I just don't know. I don't know.
And maybe, the Washington Wizards throw a complete curveball at everybody, and you look back at that 2017 draft where Boston's at number 1, and you move down to pick somebody that you really, really want, and then you end up with a bunch of assets that you can play on with later.
Right.
And what if they want Cameron Boozer? What if they want Caleb Wilson, and they don't want it, and they believe they can take him at 3-4, and somebody makes that move? Swindled.
Right.
Just like Boston did.
Well, Memphis has the assets to move up. I mean, nobody wants that Jazz pick anymore, so I don't know what that's worth. But theoretically, if Memphis wanted to move up from 3 to 1, they could.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think the Jazz would move up because it sounds like the starting point is Ace Bailey, and I don't know why the Jazz would do that. The Jazz would never do that. They'd be ridiculous to include Ace Bailey in any sort of package.
Right.
Because the whole idea is to pair this number 2 overall pick with Ace Bailey.
I think it's because, again, it is this draft, and you have this type of talent at the top of the draft. I think you're okay with where you're at.
Well, and
if you're the Utah Jazz,
right?
Whether it's Washington decides to trade down, whether it's Washington decides to go AJ, whether it's Washington decides to go Darren Peterson, it still seems like you're in a very good position to get an All NBA franchise-changing player.
These rumors wouldn't even be out there if AJ DeBonsa didn't go to BYU.
I would probably agree. Because if there wasn't that BYU Utah Jazz connection,
right,
then I don't think
nobody would care.
Then I don't think anybody would have this conversation. But
exactly.
it is the fact that AJ DeBonsa has said that he has a desire to stay in Utah, that this conversation is even a thing, that trading up is even a talking point.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Just a few weeks away, about 3 weeks from Tuesday, I believe.
Can't get here soon enough, man.
I'm very excited.
Can't get here soon enough. I think every Jazz fan online on Twitter is ready. They're ready to see who they pick. They're ready to see who their guy is. And again, I think no matter who they pick, I think everybody's ready to back that pick.
And it's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of years.
Absolutely.
Let's take a break. Coming up next, we got 5 minutes of still a couple of big stories that came out. One coming out last night. Sounds like there's a bunch of layoffs up at the University of Utah, and they have to do with the private equity deal with Otro Capital. So that is a big news story. We will get to that next. Stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Kick off Memorial Day savings with up to an extra $1,000 off select top brand appliances like Frigidaire. Plus, get free delivery at the Home Depot. Stack your appliance lineup with a fridge with an extra large ice capacity and an oven with over 15 cooking modes. Then let the real MVP handle cleanup with a dishwasher's 50-minute wash cycle. Shop appliances at the Home Depot. Offer valid May 14th through June 3rd. U.S. only. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more. See store online for details.
Hi, I'm Julianne Moore. I learn a lot from every role, but some things stay with me more than others, like the impact of Alzheimer's disease. It's important to think about brain health now, because there's so much we want to do. Acting early to protect brain health may help reduce the risk of dementia from conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Ask your doctor about your risk factors and for a cognitive assessment. Learn more at brainhealthmatters.com.
This is a paid partnership with Lilly.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. It's time for 5 minutes of. Got a couple more stories left to talk about in the show. Not a ton of time left. Real quick, PSG tied things up on a penalty kick. It's 1-1, taking on Arsenal in the championship.
There you go.
Big article, big news drop last night from the Deseret News. Jason Batakow with the bombshell. University of Utah Athletic Department begins unsettling layoff process as part of private equity deal. This comes a day after another article in which a Utah auditor basically said that Utah's private equity deal comes with a ton of risk, and Utah was bleeding money out the gills.
Not just risk, Christian. Significant
risk. I said a ton. I guess significant
risk
sounds.
It sounds more damaging.
Yeah,
you know, it sounds
right.
It sounds scarier.
So the significant risk one day, and then literally the next day you're going on with these layoffs. Now the article does make sure to point out that most of these people that are being laid off, I haven't seen like which positions are being laid off. Mm-hmm. Each impacted employee, though, will have the opportunity to interview for a similar position with the new company. But this is understandably an unsettling process to go through for these individuals. That is in a statement from Director Mark Harlan.
And part of that new company aligns with the Otro Capital, if I'm not mistaken. The Crimson Brand Partners.
Yes.
The Crimson Brand Partners is what they're calling it.
So that is Utah's branch, essentially, that is Otro Capital's branch of the Utah Athletics Department.
There you go.
Is that Crimson Brand Partners. But it's not a surprise that, of course, this private equity company is going to come in and trim the fat. And again, want to reiterate the fact, a lot of these people, if not every one of them, is going to have a chance to be rehired for a similar position, right? But you see this whenever private equity dips their toes into anything, one of the first things they do is trim the fat. Where are we wasting money? Where are we spending money on things that are not necessary? What positions, what people can we cut? What corners can we cut to increase our profit?
Right.
You know, I'm thinking of Jersey Mike's. That was a big story a couple years ago. They were bought out by private equity. A year later, people are taking videos. My Jersey Mike's sub is not as big as it used to be because they're not putting as much meat on it because the private equity company is trimming the fat. They're trying to save every penny that they can.
Same thing happened with Cafe Rio.
Exactly.
I'll never forgive the people who did that to Cafe Rio. It is interesting, the timing of it too, because of course you mentioned it a day earlier. The report comes out that to avoid reporting losses, the athletic department dipped into their financial reserves to cover what would have been a loss, and so instead of reporting losses, they're reporting that they're in the green because they dipped into their reserves, and so they're trying to make it seems like they're trying to make their books look a little bit better than they really were.
I wonder how much of that is standard practice.
I'd be curious.
I bet everybody does that, if I'm being honest with you. So that part is not as worrying to me as just because we had heard that this deal was announced a long time ago at this point, and then we didn't hear anything.
They had their press conference, I think, in January,
right?
If I'm not mistaken.
Then we didn't hear anything at all.
Yeah.
Like, at all. And it got to the point where people were like, hey, what happened to that deal? Like, is it still on? And now you hear about it 2 days ago in the initial article, or 3 days ago, right? And then it seems like this thing is going and underway now, so there's all these layoffs. And layoffs are scary, man. And people have families, and it's scary to think about, how many families are affected by this. And I know that when you are running a business, you have decisions to make for the business and for the brand, but this is something that people were expecting. It's not like this is an unexpected move where somebody comes in and they're just deciding to cut positions. And we don't know exactly, right, if positions are being cut. So I guess we need to give them the benefit of the doubt. But losing a job is a scary thing.
It is a scary thing. And I'm glad that they have at least some process of to interview and allegedly to be able to stay employed. Whether or not that happens.
Who's to say Outro Capital doesn't have their other people coming in, and they essentially have the job already, but as a formality to make this press release look good, they're going to say, oh, don't worry, even though they're laid off, they're going to be rehired.
Right.
If everything were, in a perfect world, these people would just change positions over to the new Crimson brand partners and say, I work for them now, instead of going through the process of, I was laid off, but don't worry, I get a re-interview for the same job. I don't know how many of these people are going to get those jobs back.
And again, this is all happening because the report from the auditor that came out on Thursday, going back to the dipping into the reserves and dipping into the losses, the athletic department reported $61.5 million in reserves in 2024 and just over $42 million in 2025. The auditor says that that number of the reserve is estimated to drop at $5.8 million this year. So you're going from $42 million to $5.8 million, which is insane. You are bleeding money.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You're hemorrhaging money, and that is unsustainable for any business, for any, university. That is unsustainable. You can't sustain your athletic programs when you're losing that much money.
And part of the reason this is such an interesting story is because we don't know of any other universities that are doing this. And this is
this is the first of its kind.
Right. This is a completely unheard of thing.
You do have the Big 12 trying to dip their toe into private equity too.
But it sounds like that's a completely different thing as well.
Yes.
Like, it's not this private equity company coming in and taking over part of the University of Utah athletic department.
As far as the Outro Capital deal goes, it feels like Utah's selling off its future to
stay alive
for a quick loan.
Right. Are you not going to need money in the future?
Right.
That's what I guess that's the hard part for this, is if there was a guarantee for Utah to not just get its head above water, because now, since, as you mentioned, it's essentially a loan, right? So you're going to need to pay back on interest. So you don't need just your head above water. You need to get out of the water completely.
Yeah.
Whenever the payment comes due.
Right.
So what is Utah's avenue to doing that? I don't see how this is going to work.
Where does the money come from eventually to pay them off and to pay back?
Right.
If you already are in this position. And I am curious to see where that money is going. Is it going to the roster? Is it going to players? Is it going to NIL to try to keep a competitive edge?
Everything.
Is it going to the renovations that you want to do to the Huntsman Center? Is it going to the money that you still allegedly owe from the Rice-Eccles Stadium renovation?
Yes.
That you're still apparently paying back? That's also stated in this article.
Everything. All of those things you mentioned right there, they all cost millions and millions and tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars.
$1 million.
Yeah, nice. What worries me is it just seems like Utah is doing this in an effort to keep up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They feel pressure to spend now that they're in the Big 12, and rosters cost money. Your football roster costs money. Your coach, he costs money. Even though Scally is cheaper than Kyle Whittingham, he costs money.
Oh, man. What was that letter that came out when about Kyle Whittingham?
Which one?
How much are they still paying him?
Wasn't it, I want to say 6 to 8 or something like that.
So eventually, you need money for that.
So you're still paying for your former coach.
Yeah, you still need money for that too.
All of these things cost money and money and money, and that's what Utah sees. And they're like, okay, we don't have the money to pay for this to keep up. And that's all it is a matter of keeping up. It's not even like it's not like they're being Texas Tech and just spending more than everybody else. They're doing this in an effort to spend almost as much as everybody else. Because I guarantee even with this, Utah is not even in the top half of the Big 12 as far as spending in their athletic budget, and much less their football roster.
Yeah, the more that comes out about this private equity deal, and I mean, just my basic understanding of it, it seems like it's a bad idea.
Do you think BYU has any, do you think the fact that BYU is the big rival down the road and they're spending like crazy, do you think that has anything to do with this?
Absolutely. And we'd be silly to think it's not.
You think they're just saying, okay, look at what BYU's doing. We can spend money too.
Right.
Except we got to ask for the money.
Right.
Instead of having donors.
You'd be silly to think it's not, that doesn't have to play a big part in it. Because I mean, you just look at what they did last season and bringing in the number 1 basketball recruit in AJ DeBonsa.
Yes.
And
the
crazy numbers that were floating out there, man, on how much they allegedly paid DeBonsa to join BYU.
Darren Peterson going to Kansas, right?
Right.
Like a lot of these Big 12 schools, even looking at Cincinnati on the basketball side, sounds like they're going to have at least $10 million basketball roster next year.
Right. And all those reports coming out, and particularly the ones from BYU, I mean, there's no reason not to think that there's a little bit of that feeling of, oh, they're doing this to keep up with BYU, to keep up with the rest of the Big 12, and it feels like
the pressure's on you. The pressure's on you even more because your little brother's right down the road.
Right, but is it worth it to sell out your future for this cash influx?
I wouldn't think so. But it's so hard to say because you don't know what the future is going to look like financially, but you're always going to have to spend, and you spend more and more every single year. It's just digging the hole deeper and deeper.
Right.
And so when you got to pay the due for this deal down the line, they're going to have to figure out something else to come up with a bunch of money.
Right.
Except even more at that point.
And maybe Ultra Capital's coming in to help reduce their spending. You know, they're hemorrhaging money now, and they're coming in and they're hoping to plug in some of those holes.
Again, trim the fat. That's the first thing that private equity does.
Right. And maybe that's all you need.
I doubt it.
Who knows?
I mean, laying off a couple of people isn't going to save you millions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's true. That is a very good point.
Anyway, I feel for the people that lost their jobs last night. That is tough.
It's tough, man.
Just knowing families that have been affected by layoffs and stuff. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And so I hope these people can land on their feet, whether it is with this Crimson whatever or finding a new job elsewhere where they're maybe it would be a good thing to get out of athletics, because that seems like a crazy place to work right now. I want to clarify, not just the University of Utah, but just I think working in college athletics at all right now.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And I mean, again, we were talking about it earlier. There needs to be rules and regulations. Somebody's trying to come in and put rules and regulations with the the CSE, the commission, the bills that are, people are trying to pass through legislation, etc. But yet nobody wants to play on the same playing field. So it's a mess.
All right, we got to take another break. Coming up next, we will wrap up the show. Also hit on Stanley Cup Finals. Those are set. We know who's going to be playing. We'll touch on that next. Stick with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. This game's still tied up.
Looks like it's going to go to extra time.
The Champions League championship.
Yes.
Champions League final?
Yes.
Is that the correct term?
Final would be, yeah.
PSG and Arsenal, by the way, 1-1. Oh, what was that? The TV looked like it was about to turn off.
Glitched.
Yeah, this is going to go extra time. Well, they put 6 minutes on the end of the first half. They'll probably put 8 on the end of this one.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Probably. I can't think of very many stoppages that there was in this game, so we'll see.
Alex, the Stanley Cup Finals are set. The Golden Knights taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Golden Knights swept the Colorado Avalanche after one of the more impressive regular seasons that we have seen in a very long time coming from Colorado. They were the heavy favorites in the West. They get swept in the Western Conference Finals. Of course, they were dealing with some injuries, but Vegas, dude, they're looking like a wagon. Torts really has this team figured out.
Absolutely. Talked to Cole Bagley earlier in the week on Scotty G and the coach, and I asked him about Tortorella because I've been impressed with how the Vegas team has been able to turn the corner since bringing in John Tortorella, and he said that bringing in a new head coach like that, like the way that they did, can really make a huge difference, and you're seeing it with the Vegas Golden Knights. They looked fantastic against the Avalanche. I certainly thought the Avalanche were going to be the team to advance, but now here you are with Colorado getting swept in the Western Conference Final.
This is not the same Vegas team that Utah played in the first round.
No, I would have to agree with that.
And that's the advantage. I mean, you bring in Torts with 8 games left, right, in the regular season. So really in that first round, they're still learning under him. Now you're 2 months later playing under Tortorella.
Right.
That is not the same Vegas team.
And I think you can kind of look at Mitch Marner and see that encapsulates that, because we talked about Mitch Marner and how it took him a little bit of time for him to arrive into the playoffs, right? He didn't have a goal against Utah. He maybe had a couple points in the earlier games, but he definitely didn't seem like the Mitch Marner, right, until maybe late in that series. Now he's probably one of the better players to watch in this Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah. Last week we had a conversation about, like, should Utah fans be upset feeling like they took Vegas, to Game 6, feeling like they maybe could have been in this spot? And I think ultimately that's where I land on is no, it's a different Vegas team. It's not the same one that Utah played closely and almost beat.
Which in turn, I kind of hope that, the front office of the Utah Mammoth don't look at it and say, look, we had these guys on the ropes and we played them really, really well, and kind of use that as a we've made it spot. Right?
Not quite.
I don't think that they would, from anything that we've heard from Andre Turney, from anything that we've heard from Bill Armstrong. Like, I don't think that they would use that as a platform to say, look, we've made it. This is as solid as we can get, because I think that you can do better as far as physicality goes, as far as getting some size on that team. So I hope that the front office doesn't see it as we had them this close. We were this close to they were on the ropes, and we're okay with where we're at.
So that's one side of the bracket. The other side, another crazy story, though. Carolina comes into this game with only 1 loss in the playoffs.
Wild.
At all. They swept the first 2 rounds. I believe they dropped Game 1 to Montreal.
Yes.
And then won 4 in a row.
Yes.
So they have 1 loss in 3 rounds of play. They are looking really dominant coming from the east side. I saw Cole Bagley, speaking to him, he was on Twitter saying that he still doesn't believe that Carolina is that good. We'll see, man. This is the first time ever that a team has made the Stanley Cup Finals with only one loss. So
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I would say that's pretty good. They have, I wanted the Canadians to maybe give them a little bit more fight, but I think after that, what was it, Game 4 with Carolina at home?
Yeah.
Where they, on Wednesday night, where they just had a really, really disappointing performance. It kind of felt like that was over, and me and Tim talked about it earlier in the week, and we were like, yeah, it kind of feels like we're just going to ride in the Carolina Hurricanes at this point because the Habs fell off a little bit.
Yeah. But again, like that is a really, really good team. So
right. And it's setting up for a really fun matchup.
I think it's going to be a great series.
It's going to be a great series, and you want the best series of the playoffs to be in the Stanley Cup Finals, and now here we are, which potential I think for that to be the case. The first game is coming up on June 2nd,
Tuesday,
on a Tuesday, and we're looking forward to it, man. I'm excited to see the Stanley Cup Finals.
Just a reminder what else we have going on the station today. Utah Royals taking on the Portland Thorn. It's Thorn. No, it is Thorns.
Thorns,
it is
yes.
plural.
Yep, plural.
I thought they were one of those weird teams where it was just singular for no reason.
Not the Mammoth.
Royals taking on Portland at Portland. The pre-match show at 1:30, and then the game starts at 2. And then the Bees taking on Round Rock. That's going to get going at 4:50 with Tony Parks on the call.
Big, Utah Royals right now are on a hot streak, man. They're one of the best teams in the NWSL. The big matchup coming up here before the World Cup break.
They are number one in their
in the NWSL, yeah.
Oh, in the entire league. I thought this was just their division. No, they're tied with Portland actually with 23 points.
Yes,
so big game today,
which makes this game even bigger because it's number 1 taking on number 2. So it should be really fun. Tune in.
Fun one for the Royals.
Absolutely. Quick shout out to Connor, our guy Connor here at KSL on the street team. Hopefully our vernacular was better for you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Connor.
Shout out Connor.
I always need an excuse to shout out Connor.
Love that guy.
All right, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening. It's the Saturday show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.